CO 10-8, ordinance amending Chapter 9, Articles 6, Section 9-62, subsection D, parentheses 2B of the Methuen Municipal Code, noise pollution control ordinance, request of Councilor Leahy.
So moved. Second.
Yeah, it's really kind of simple. Actually, the ordinance that is in there now theoretically should do the job, but for some reason there's been a couple of problems, so the solicitor has just pretty much tightened it up to resolve some of the complaints we've had with it. That's all there is to it. Just tighten up, it's just clarifying something that should have been in there anyway.
Councilor Zani and then
Yeah, I
Councilor
think that
Hatcher,
what you've added to it, the mobile food cart or the ice cream truck, I received maybe the same call you received from the woman whose son has some disability issues, and she was at wit's end because of her son. So, and I guess she had told, I actually went through the police department, and they went out and they stopped it once, but there was nothing on the books to say they couldn't keep on doing it. So I think it's important, especially if we have people that have that kind of situation.
Actually, like I say, it was on the books, but this just clarifies a little bit more.
Councilor Hatcher?
And maybe I threw you to the chief, because I agree with you. I mean, we all kind of saw this letter, and I was told that it was already covered by the ordinance.
It
So
does, but it doesn't, if you know what I mean.
I'm an engineer, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe is this legal speak? Because it says, the playing, I mean, it's really clear that it was already covered.
Yep.
So I never understood how the ice cream truck was driving around the city in the first place. We
Yep.
should have just been able to stop him and say, what are you doing, playing your amplified machine device on the streets of Methuen? So, and I'm okay with adding it to take care of the situation, but are we missing some other situation? Because when I drive around, or you drive around with a truck, because we're running for office with a big PA thing on the back, now is that covered or not? You know what I mean, like it doesn't.
It's covered, actually.
I know, but you know what I'm saying, and no offense, I mean, I'm for this, and I
didn't write
understand
I
it.
just requested it.
I know, but I don't understand why
I
we
can explain
request
that
it.
second part.
Why didn't the cops just use the ordinance that's and that, enforce the ordinance that's already there? Why do we have to do that?
Let me do the second part first.
Thanks.
If someone wants to drive around with a loudspeaker and says, vote for so-and-so, or, I love the sun, they apply for a noise permit. We give them a noise permit, allowing them to violate that if it's a legitimate issue. Sometimes they want to do a protest. We'll review it, we send it to the city solicitor, it looks okay, we give a noise permit. The ice cream truck would fall into that ordinance, but then it comes to being a good business community. Traditionally, they would drive around with the ice cream truck, nobody would bother them because since I was a little kid, you hear the music, everyone runs outside and you do it. No different than the football game on Friday night, and if you're in the loop, you can hear the football game. We don't make them get a noise permit for that, but technically it's a violation of the ordinance. It comes into the discretion of the situation. How much discretion do you want to issue? I guess you could make an amendment that specifically excludes them, or you can have the mayor direct us that you would like us to not have, not utilize discretion and stop the ice cream trucks. I know you can say you don't want us to do that, but I take my directions from the mayor. So if you've got the mayor,
That's exactly what we want to do.
if you told the mayor we want to stop to the ice cream trucks, I'm going to have Peter tell us it's okay to do that because, again, I've been down this road before. I have an interpretation, but I want Peter's interpretation. My belief is the ice cream truck can't just drive around randomly with music. But we've always allowed it because, it's for the kids. But if it's your wish and the mayor tells us to do that,
Actually,
as long as Peter says it's
I'm a little bit
okay.
older than you, Chief, because when I was a kid, they didn't really do the music. They'd pull up, they'd ring their bell once or twice, and the kids would come running out. This thing here, I live on Woodburn Drive. I can hear the music, God almighty, 6-7 blocks away, and it doesn't stop. It plays continuously. I mean, we're doing this for a special instance, but in all honesty, it drives everybody crazy anyway. And theoretically, it is against the ordinance. And again, what the solicitor did, I was under the impression that the ordinance was fine what it was, but the solicitor suggested adding to it what he did.
And I would defer it to the solicitor for whatever language he wants. I'm just saying there is another way around it if you so choose. But understand, when we start giving tickets for that, they're going to complain to the mayor and all you guys saying we're bothering someone trying to do business in the city, but again, we'll follow the direction that we're given.
So then just to finish, and then I'll stop. What you're saying is today, if we don't do it, what's in front of me right now takes it out of your hands. The ice cream truck can't in the city of Methuen. You have no say.
The ice cream truck can't, but we do have a say, because under Massachusetts general law, the discretion is up to the individual officer enforcing it. But if I was told by the mayor, you will enforce this, then I'll put an order out saying you will enforce this, and I'll direct the officers to do that. I'm not sure exactly what Peter wrote, because I stepped out of the room, but I want to ask Peter if he agrees with me. I don't want to give you a legal, I'm telling you as the chief, I believe that's absolutely within our power, but I want Peter to concur.
Because what I was kind of told was that this specific incident that caused all of this, right? It was very specific. It was on, a specific instance that caused all this, that the police department was going to speak to the specific ice cream truck, that vendor, to see if there was something they could do, not on this neighborhood, this and that, no. And I never heard anything back from anyone. And now the next thing I know, it's in writing that we're going to ban the whole ice cream truck from everywhere.
Well, I would say,
So
I would
just thought
believe.
and I'm wondering, is this
sorry.
because you guys spoke to the ice cream truck?
Counsel, we're not exactly banning the truck, we're just banning his announcement. Put a different form of, here I come in there, that's all. Ring a bell, toot a horn,
I have a
whatever.
question too.
All right,
You done, Joe?
Councilor
Yes, I am.
Sedan?
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because the chief made a good point when he said it's at the officer's discretion. I've heard some, and I think the one that was at that lady's house could have been the one that, I've heard it goes on and on and on. But then there are others that have come by, and like you said, they have the bell, they ring. Not many of the kids even go up, because they may drive through a neighborhood. So if the chief feels, and I don't know if this is the intent of your legislation, where if that truck is, and it's blaring noise, they do it at the ballpark sometimes, just sitting there and they go on and on. I wouldn't have a problem if it was, somebody went to a neighborhood, because like I said, we don't want to take from the kids what we had. If they went through my mother's neighborhood and the bell rings, they don't come up to where I live because I'm in the boonies. But if the police are called because it's obnoxious, then I like this legislation, and it gives you the opportunity to enforce it,
And
correct?
Counsel, believe me, I would be the last person in the world to
Yeah.
ban ice cream.
Yeah, not,
All right.
we're not banning ice cream, we're
No,
banning the
all
noise.
all we want to do is
I understand
their system, and again, bell,
Yeah.
ding, 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 here we are.
Right, but the point is, this legislation is saying that you're only banning it if it's loud. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Only if it's loud.
But based on if it's amplified,
Correct.
so forth.
I don't-
I'm not sure exactly what's written, but if you specify
Yeah.
loudness, we have to go by decibels.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Chief,
Right.
and you're right, this is only first read. Maybe if you got a chance to speak to the solicitor, as a matter of fact, why don't you speak to
Oh,
him?
there he is, perfect.
No, because I like it, I just think that if it's that, because there are some that are so loud, and there might be, like you said, a mom and
There's only
pop.
really two in the whole
Yeah,
town.
is it?
Yeah.
So let me see, if there's one being.
Peter, we're here regarding the noise ordinance.
Yes.
And I guess the question is, this is not going to ban all ice cream trucks. It's just a certain noise from certain trucks.
Well,
And
it
the
does-
enforcement of this ordinance is at the discretion of a police officer if he determines it's too loud. And I guess, questions along those lines.
It does not ban, obviously, anybody from selling ice cream in the city of Methuen through a mobile unit. It's just the curbing or the prohibition of the amplifiers and the music that comes from, that they obviously use to draw attention to the fact that they are entering the neighborhood. It does not prohibit, obviously, the selling of ice cream at all, and it just simply says that they're not allowed, and it's an adjunct to the ordinance. The ordinance itself did not specifically cover this particular item, and it, Councilor Leahy's requested we inserted it, but in answer to your question, it does not prohibit ice cream trucks, nor the selling of ice cream from any kind of a mobile unit,
Okay, and the enforcement, is it,
with the police department.
but is it at the discretion of a police officer? If he goes out there, he determines it's violating the audibles, or I don't know how he
I mean,
determines that.
I would defer to the police department. If there would be a warning or any kind of a repeat after a warning, I'm sure at the discretion of the police department, whether they could issue a citation. It would be a non-criminal citation under the statute, but nonetheless, because it is a matter of health, safety, and welfare, the jurisdiction for its enforcement would fall upon the police department.
Okay, another question that would arise from that then, if they're gonna issue a citation, is there any kind of a fine that would be involved?
I believe if I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but if my recollection serves me, I believe it's $100.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm just not sure if it, I know there's two noise ordinances. Is this the one where we need the decibel meter, or is this just loud and obnoxious noise?
It's loud and obnoxious noise. It's not the decibel aspect.
So
of
that
the
would be
ordinance.
fine. And the only other issue I foresee is you think it's loud and obnoxious, but the officer doesn't think it's loud and obnoxious. We still going to have the same situation. I'm not opposed to any of this, but I think what we could also do is maybe if we round up all the ice cream vendors and just have a conversation with them, someone from the police department saying, hey, can you be careful with your music when you're in a neighborhood, turn it on, turn it off, or whatever it is that we end up with, maybe we can do that outreach to them. And I've heard the same one. There's a guy that goes down Pleasant Street, and you can hear it all the way at the end of my street, and then there's some that you can barely hear as they go by. I think sometimes it's the volume.
It's the amplification.
We can do whatever you please.
Okay, anyone else? First read? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Is there one no?
Yep.